Hello YouTubers, RogueMonkeyJr here, and we just got a little bit of info on Season 2 for Apex Legends. Now we all know there's going to be a new weapon, and it's going to be called the L-Star, and it's absolutely going to shred people to pieces, and it is going to be exclusive to the supply drops that drop throughout Kings Canyon. So they're talking a little bit more about this, but there's also some new stuff that is coming that they are able to talk about, is the new hop-ups, attachments, and certain buffs / nerfs to the equipment you can find throughout Kings Canyon. So I wanted to go through this little bit of information just because I feel like a lot of people are going to be surprised and maybe excited for some of these changes. So of course, the star of Season 2 is the L-Star. It has unique projectiles that are much larger than those fired by other weapons in Apex Legends, and players need to lead targets more at range to compensate for the L-Star's slower projectiles, but on the flip side, they don't have to aim quite as precisely to get good effect on the target. So they say this plasma-fueled power comes at a price. The L-Star will overheat if players hold the trigger down too long, and when the L-Star does overheat, its lens breaks, which is, a completely different mechanic, and it needs to be replaced, which takes some time. So expert players learn to feather the trigger with short, medium bursts, and taking short breaks to let the weapon cool down. So obviously it only spawns in airdrops, and it comes with a limited ammo supply that can't be refilled. So it seems like it's going to be quite the interesting weapon to be able to wield, but it's going to come with some drawbacks. So they're also bringing out new hop-ups. So they say they wanted to bring up the low end of the power curve a little bit and increase situational viability for lesser used weapons, looking at P2020 and Mozambique, and create more interplay between weapons. So they created a couple of new hop-ups. So first, the Disruptor Rounds, so increased shielded damage, which is interesting, and the compatibility is with the Alternator and the RE45, so it might be useful to bring those into mid to late game to be able to shred players' armors faster, and then swap out to maybe a Peacekeeper or an R99 to get them down quickly. So that might be a viable tactic to use. The next hop-up is called Hammer Point Rounds, and on the flip side of the Disruptor Rounds, it deals increased unshielded damage. So it even might be, as I say, a viable tactic if maybe you bring a gun with Disruptor Rounds and Hammer Point Rounds to endgame situations, and you do so much more damage to the players and the specific health type that they have left, so be it armor or health. And this can be used with the P2020 and the Mozambique. So ideally, players will consider one of these hopped up small arms for weapon swap tactics and sometimes carry them unironically into an endgame situation. So I'm really curious what kind of loadouts people are going to start running now that they are going to introduce these hop-ups that deal increased shield damage and unshielded damage respectively. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting Season 2 to say the least. Next we have new attachments, so energy mags. So the energy mag attachments have been added for the Havoc, Devotion, and Triple Take, adding more loot gameplay and power curve depth. Like the other magazine attachments, energy mags increase ammo capacity at all levels and reduced reload time at level 2 and above. I honestly feel as though the Havoc was fine and didn't really need a increased energy mag size, but the Devotion and Triple Take could definitely benefit from these if you want to carry them into later games. Power-ups, so we buffed some less popular weapons to make them more powerful within the design roles, so look out for buffs to the Flatline, P2020, Alternator, and Triple Take with specific details outlined in our Season 2 patch notes. I personally think it's great that they're buffing less used weapon to maybe give people an incentive to actually use those specific weapons. I feel like the Flatline could be a lot better if maybe it had a barrel stabilizer that would control the recoil a little bit more, but it does deal a lot of damage, so it's going to be an interesting Season 2, as I said. Next we have Arc Stars. So since the launch, the Arc Star has seemed spiky to us, and they put that in quotation marks. To us, this means that the gameplay and personality are good, but it can sometimes feel unfair to use or fight against. We did a few targeted tweaks. So they increased the ignition delay from 2.5 to 2.8, and sticking it to a full health player will now down them, which is great in my opinion, because if you're skilled enough to actually stick an Arc Star on a full health player, I definitely think they should go down, and players at the edge of the explosion no longer get their shields completely shredded. Next we have gold weapons, so we can look forward to finding a totally new set of gold weapons in Kings Canyon for the start of Season 2. As for ammo stack sizes, this is an interesting one. This is what they say about this, so Apex players need to strike a fine balance between loading their backpack with ammo and holding other items for emergency or utility purposes. In a couple of cases, we felt the stack sizes weren't well balanced, so we tweaked. So obviously the most blatant one was the shotgun, so the max stack was reduced from 64 to 16, and now players need multiple stacks of ammo to run a shotty, or you need to be really precise with your shots as opposed to before where you could just run a shotgun with 64 rounds and you'd be good for the whole game. So this might literally make you think twice before packing a shotgun with you as your secondary weapon. As for the energy max stack, it was increased from 60 to 80 and now matches light and heavy ammo. As for airdrop packages, they now use different loot tables for different phases of the game, so early, mid, and late. For example, players will find more Krabers in early and mid-game airdrops, while end-game airdrops should spawn more Mastiffs, and of course, these loot tables now include the L-Star Plasma LMG. So these are all of the changes that we can expect for weapon balance and new weapons and different attachments, stuff like that for Season 2. It's going to be interesting to see how it actually changes the meta that is currently in place, especially with those awesome hop-ups for the P2020 Mozambique and the alternator RE45, which in my opinion right now are pretty much gutter tier weapons, except the alternator can do okay in my opinion, but for the rest of them, they're really like the bottom of the barrel weapons that you don't want to have. So anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. How do you think it's going to change the meta? Do you think you're going to be running more of the bottom of the barrel weapons when Season 2 drops? Leave all that in the comment section down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.